So today we're going to talk about, I'm going to give you guys, the first thing I'm going to give you guys is the three different needs that you guys need to sell on. Number one, I want you guys to write these down. The first type of need is something called an internal need. The second type of need is an external need. And then the third type of need is a moral or philosophical need. Let's talk about the first one really quick. When I talk about internal need, does anybody know what I mean by that? Does anybody know what I mean by internal need? All you guys been through my sales training, so this is just some touch up for you guys. Hopefully you guys are paying attention, but sometimes you got to go back through it just to touch on it a little bit. Somebody unmute. Unmute. What do I mean when I say internal need? What do I mean when I say internal need?
I mean, things that's within, the things that's causing you to either hold back the things that you can't see, essentially, that's not viewable.
Okay. Okay.
Your emotions, in other words.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. Give me another one. Give me another one. What do I mean when I say internal need? Give me another one.
Would that be kind of like maybe someone internally wants to emotionally be like leave a legacy behind or, have those type of intentions, maybe?
Okay. Okay. You and Marcus is rough around the same place. Okay. Write this down, guys. An internal need is something that creates a burning desire for a client. You see, what I'm giving you guys today are the three different needs to be able to help you increase your sales. But I also want you to understand that you and your client are all one and the same. And what I mean by that is we are all emotional buyers, but everything that we purchase has to make sense logically. Would you guys agree? We are all emotional buyers, but everything has to make sense logically. And the way that I'm going to attack it today is I'm going to show you guys exactly what I mean for us, for instance, right? So when it comes to an internal need, guys, this is about the client's family. It's about the client's friends. It's about the client's relatives. And it's also about tragic experiences that's happened to us in the past. You guys write those down? Don't forget them. I'm telling you guys right now, I'm giving you guys some information that can help you increase your sales. So an internal need is what creates a burning desire to have a client want to purchase. So it's a client's family, it's their friends, it's their relatives. And the most important one is tragic experiences that's happened to us in the past, right? You see, if I come to any one of you guys and I say, hey, Josh, or hey, Castle, why do you want to be a successful life insurance agent? Right? Redley, why do you want to be a successful life insurance agent? Michael Scott, why do you want to be a successful life insurance agent? Every single person on this call will come on and say, well, Jalen, I want to make a lot of money. Would you guys all agree with that? You say, well, I want to make a lot of money. That's why I want to be successful. Right? But if I ask you why you want to be successful, and I ask you why 7 times, sometimes it may only take one time and then somebody end up getting real emotional, start crying. That's me, right? You ask me one time why I want to be successful, why I want to end up, making a lot of money. I start crying like crazy because my reason on why I want to be successful extends far beyond why I want to make a lot of money. Would you guys agree? So watch this. An internal need is based off our clients' families, friends, relatives, and tragic experiences. Here's what I want you guys to never forget. When it comes to you as an agent, if you can understand this one simple thing, you can instantly be able to connect with your client. Instantly, no matter if you spoke to them or not. Because remember, clients like to buy from people that they're familiar with. So the more that I can get inside my client's mind, the more that I can relate to my client, the easier it's going to get me to have the client say yes at the end of my sales call. So if I know that I'm an emotional buyer and I move based off of internal needs, which is my family, my friends, my relatives, or tragic experiences, I know my client moves based off the same exact way. So if I want to be a successful life insurance agent and you ask me why I want to be successful, I'm going to come on, I'm going to say, you know what? The reason why I want to be successful is because I seen my mom struggling for a long period of time where she didn't have enough resources to be able to pay for everything to be able to take care of me and my 6 brothers. You see, I see my brother who has a felony record. All the men in my family have felony records and they can't go out there and really get jobs like they really want to, which then turns around and my nephews and my nieces have to struggle financially because they can't get taken care of financially as much as my brothers want to. Because once you get hit with a felony record, guess what, guys? Chances are you getting a great job is slim to none. You see, I see my father who has a disability, who's not able to be able to take care of everything he really want to do. Even if he wants to go out there and help my mom and has the desire to want to help, he can't because he's physically impaired when it comes to certain aspects of his life. You see, if I ask you guys right now why you want to be successful, every single person on this line can vividly tell me, Jalen, this is the reason why I want to create a lot of success for my family, or else you wouldn't show up on this call this morning. Or else you wouldn't be coming to Kentucky this week. Or else you wouldn't go through the pain and the processes of trying to figure out a new career to learn life insurance or have clients hanging up on you. There's a reason why you want to be successful. Because if you only do it for external reasons, it's only going to get you so far. You see, external reasons, guys, that creates a little bit of motivation for a little bit of time. But when you focus on the internal factors, hey, Jalen, I really want to be successful because of this reason. You keep showing up every single day, correct? No matter how much pain you go through, no matter what life looks like currently right now, you see the vision for something that can be better than the life that you typically had in the past. I want you guys to circle tragic experiences. Every single person on this line right now has had a tragic experience that they went through either last year, this year, or in the past at some point in time that made them say, you know what, enough is enough. And you see, my breaking moment for me was when I was struggling to pay my bills financially. I asked Mike, I said, hey, Mike, we were roommates at the time. I said, hey, Mike, I need enough money to be able to pay my rent. I don't have it. And he came to me and said, Jalen, you got to figure it out. I went to my mom. I said, hey, Mom, I don't have enough money to pay my bills. Can you help me with my rent again? And my mom came to me. She said, Jalen, baby, unfortunately, I'm not able to help you out this time. In fact, I was about to ask you if you can help me pay my electric bill. And guys, this was 6 years ago. And I remember this moment like it was yesterday. Mike couldn't help me. My mom couldn't help me. My brothers couldn't help me because they didn't have it. And something clicked for me. And I promised myself, watch this, guys. I promised myself, I said, you know what? I would never allow for this to happen again. I would never allow for my mom to come to me. If she needs anything from me, I'm always going to make sure I have it. Guys, I made a covenant with myself, a promise to myself that this will never happen again. You see, sometimes we get on these phone calls, and we're not participating or we're not looking at, these calls as opportunities to get better because you haven't really made a covenant or a promise with yourself yet. You're still tiptoeing in the water, right? Maybe you guys haven't hit rock bottom where you're like, dang, I really had enough. And guess what typically happens? You become like your clients and you be like, well, Jalen, I just want to think about it. Well, I want to think about it, Jalen. Let me talk it over with my family. Let me talk it over with my children. Have you guys been getting that a lot? Yeah, because you've been doing that. Guys, I want you guys to understand something. The reason why you're attracting your clients in your life, the people who say, I want to think about it, or let me talk it over with my spouse, or hey, I don't have the money or the resources, is because your clients are a direct resemblance of you. Oh my gosh. Whew. Almost had a heart attack saying that. I'm sorry, y'all. Yeah, they're a direct resemblance of you. Why? Because there's something called the law of vibration. And with the law of vibration, it states that every single client, every single person, all the tragic and all the bad experiences and the great experiences that come in your life, guess what? They're vibrating on that same vibrational frequency as you. So the clients that you get that's showing up to you every single day, hey, they're hanging up on you, hey, they don't want to buy, is because you are the same exact person when it comes to you hitting your goals. You're the same exact person. You see, I gave up window shopping a long time ago because I didn't want to show up to the store and not buy anything and get the sales rep pissed off or upset because I wasn't going to get anything because I just wanted to shop around. Because what I typically end up doing was I used to try to go and sell life insurance, and guess what? I used to get the same type of clients. Oh, Jalen, I just was looking. I was just looking. No, when I go to the mall and when I go to buy something, I'm going to purchase something. I don't care if I just go to the mall and purchase some Auntie Anne's pretzels. I'm going there to purchase something. I'm not going to window shop. I'm going to find something, right? So we all have internal needs that move us to want to purchase. Your clients are the same exact way. When it comes to your clients, a lot of us are selling too much on external factors, which is why you're not getting the results you're looking for. You want to sell on the emotional factors, right? You want to sell on the internal reasons. You want to talk about the client's family, their friends, tragic experience that's happened. That's the reason in the discovery, guys, we're asking questions like, all right, Mr. James, when you requested this information, were you requesting it because you experienced a funeral or simply because you don't have anything in place right now? There's a reason why we're asking that question. We're trying to figure out what the internal reason is and what the external reason is. Write this down. The external reason, the external need are things that the client enjoys about the policy. This is what the client enjoys about the policy, like the death benefit, how much the cash accumulation grows to. This is like the living benefits of the policy. These are all the external reasons. It has to make sense, of course, right? It all has to make sense. This is about the client's pricing. Hey, we can find you a price that matches your budget. Those are external factors. Way too many of you guys are selling on external factors, which is why you're not getting the results you're looking for. Again, you sell on emotion, provide solutions based on logic. So when we ask that question, hey, Mr. John, were you requesting because you experienced a funeral, internal reason, or because you don't have anything in place at the moment, external factor? You guys with me on that? Internal, hey, Jalen, I experienced a funeral recently. Boom, I'm going into emotion automatically. Oh, Mr. John, I'm sorry to hear about that, man. If you don't mind me asking, who passed away recently? Oh, it was my granddaughter. Man, I'm super sorry to hear about that, man. I can't tell you what it's like to lose a granddaughter because I don't have any children myself, but I can tell you how it feels to lose somebody that's dear and special to my heart. I lost my grandfather a couple months back, and we're still trying to figure out how we're going to help my grandmother take care of everything financially. Let me just ask you a quick question really quick. Did they happen to have any life insurance in place on her? No. Man, how did you guys have to pay out of pocket to take care of everything? Well, Jalen, we had to do a GoFundMe. We had to do a fish fry. We also had to go to the church and be able to raise some money to help pay for everything. We had to spend around $10,000 to get her buried. Man, I'm sorry you guys had to go through that. Write this down, guys. This is what I always say to a client after they tell me something like that. The biggest reason that people reach out to us, Mr. John, is for the same exact reason you're requesting information from us. Is because they experienced a funeral of a loved one and they did not have proper coverage in place to take care of everything that they needed to take care of everything. And you want to know the biggest thing that everybody shares with me? What? They always say it's hard for them to grieve properly because they're trying to figure out how they're going to pay for their loved one's funeral expenses. I can imagine you felt the same way as well. Is that correct? Yes. Boom. You guys see that? What did I just do? All internal. I connected with my client by sharing my story. I also connected with my client not only by sharing my story, but sharing another client's story. And I showed the client that, hey, you're not the first case that we've dealt with it before. I deal with these cases all the time. Many people reach out to us for the same exact reason why you requested information from us. And they always tell me it's hard for them to grieve properly because they're trying to figure out how they're going to pay for their loved one's funeral expenses. I can imagine you and your family felt the same exact way, correct? Yes, boom. Hit them with this next statement after that. If I could help alleviate that same financial burden for you and your family, will that make you happy? I just got 2 yeses within a span of 15 seconds. Write this down. The more yeses you can get from your client, the more likely they're going to buy. If I can get my client to bob their head up and down and say yes on the sales call, in my discovery, the more chances and the likelihood that they're going to buy from me. Right? So watch this, guys. So they say yes. That's an emotional sale. A lot of us just leave it at that. We still got to hit on the external factor. The external factor, guys, remember, is what? Is based off of the pricing, the coverage amount, the plan they have in place, where they currently are, right? I want you guys to understand this, okay? The reason why we ask about, hey, were you requesting information because you experienced a funeral or simply because you don't have anything in place right now? The second part, I don't have anything in place right now, or I do have life insurance in place, is because I want to know, right? I want to know what research they've already done or what they already have in place. So if they say, well, Jalen, I do have a life insurance in place response. Okay, perfect. You want to make sure you go through all of the information that the client has for their life insurance plan. Well, Jalen, yeah, I got a Mutual of Omaha policy. I just took that out last year. Okay, perfect. Write this down, guys. Please write this down, okay? Curiosity is always king when it comes to sales. Curiosity. Tonality is everything. If a client says they already have life insurance in place, I'm going to say something along the lines of this. Okay, well, Mr. John, you already got this $15,000 policy in place with Mutual of Omaha. It seems like you got everything taken care of. What's the biggest reason why you're requesting information from us today? Curiosity. Are you not satisfied with your current plan? Well, no, Jaylee, I really was wanting to make sure if I can see if there's anything else out there where I can save some, money on my policy, or, Jaylee, I was just looking to add on. I want to have the client profess out of their mouth why they're requesting information from me. You already have life insurance in place. There's a reason why you're searching. There's a reason why you're looking. Mr. John, you already got a $30,000 policy in place with SBLI. Just out of curiosity, are you not satisfied with your current plan? What has you looking around for additional insurance? I want to have them respond. Curiosity is always king, right? If they don't have any insurance in place, guys, you still got to dive into that as well. No insurance in place. No insurance in place? Oh my gosh. Just out of curiosity, how long you been looking for coverage? Well, I've been looking for the last 2 years. Okay. So you've been looking at getting insurance for the last 2 years, but you haven't put anything in place just yet? What's been the biggest thing holding you back from putting life insurance or final expense insurance in place on yourself? You see what I'm doing there? I'm diving deep. I'm figuring out what is making them request information. I'm curious. I already know what they're going to respond back with, but I want to make it seem like I'm curious because it lessens the sales resistance as well. Okay. That's interesting. So when you go through your sales presentation, guys, you always hit on both. Whatever the first response is, when you ask that question, hey, Jalen, if whatever the first response is when it comes to that first question, were you requesting because you experienced a funeral or simply because you don't have anything in place right now, right? if they say funeral response, you dive deep into the emotional response first. After you go through that, you circle back around to the next question. Okay, well, Mr. John, I'm glad to know, that we're able to assist you with, helping you alleviate that financial burden for your family. Just out of curiosity, do you happen to have any life insurance or final expense insurance in place right now to cover everything? You guys see what I did there? I circle back around to my external factor to try to figure out what the external need is. You guys with me on that? If they respond back and say, well, Jalen, I don't have anything in place right now, as the first response, I go through that first. I figure out what the external need is, because that's the first response. After I go through the external need, I circle back around, and guess what? I go to the internal need. Okay, Mr. John, just out of curiosity, I know you say you don't have any life insurance in place right now, and you're looking to make sure your family's taken care of, have you ever experienced a funeral at all, or know anyone who experienced a funeral where they had to pay out of pocket to cover a funeral arrangement? You see what I did there, guys? Just because you're asking two questions, it doesn't mean you still don't hit on both. You always hit on both, because you got to figure out what the internal need is and always figure out what the external need is. If you do not know what the internal need is or the external need is, you will not win the battle at all. You always got to figure out what the both needs are. All right? Perfect. Now, guys, watch this. There's something called moral and philosophical needs. Does anybody know why we have the statement at the end of the discovery, the belief statement at the end of the discovery? Does anybody know why we have that? Come on, unmute. What do we got? Anybody know why we have that?
And if you express to the client, it's like, hey, I respect what you're doing right here. It'll make them feel good about what they're doing too, and more inclined to want to go through with it. It like affirms their decision.
I love that. That's absolutely right. Jack said a word in there. Did anybody catch on the word he said? He said there's a particular word that he said. Did anybody catch on the word? Because sales is also about listening. Affirm, what else? There was another word. There's another word. Affirm is good. There was another word. Respect, not quite. Not need, nope. There's a certain word. Y'all wasn't listening. It's okay. I'm going to give it to you. Write this down. He said the client wants to feel good about making the decision. Feel. How many of us want to feel good when we go to a restaurant and we eat something? How many of us want to feel good when we hop on a sales call, we can get some valuable information? How many of us want to go through life just feeling good, just in general? We all are searching and seeking out for a feeling of something that's going to bring joy into our lives. You guys with me on that? So the experience that we're looking to accomplish when it comes to our life in general, which is feeling good, is the same feeling that your clients are looking for when they are getting on a call with you. They want to feel like they are being respected. They want to feel like they are being heard. They want to feel like you are the best man or woman for the job. You guys with me on that? So when you get on the phone with your client, or you go and show up to your client's house, the experience needs to be nothing but greatness. Okay? So how do I do that? Right? There's something called moral and philosophical needs that we all have, okay? And I want you guys to write this down. The moral and philosophical need speaks on how we want to be remembered based off of where we're looking to go, right? So at the end of the day, if I pass away, how do I want to be remembered? You see, when I pass away, I want people to remember me like, man, Jalen added so much value to me. You know what? Jalen, he made me feel good. Anytime I was around him, he made me feel great and made me feel amazing. Man, anytime I reached out to Jalen, he dropped some gems or he gave me some good nuggets. Jalen always had a smile on his face and he made me feel happy. He always made me smile and laugh. Right? You guys have a certain way that you want to be remembered, right? When you show up to a community or show up to an event, how do you want people to feel your presence, right? What do you want people to say about you? These are all things that we're thinking about. These are moral and philosophical needs. It's the same thing when it comes to our clients, y'all. Guess what? They have moral and philosophical needs as well, which is why they're looking at getting life insurance to cover their funeral expenses, to not leave any financial burdens behind for their family. So when you go through your presentation, never, 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 guys, I'm gonna say it again. Never, ever, 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 right? Ever, ever forget this, okay? Watch this. When you go through your sales presentation with your client, you want to, I seen another word in here, affirm. You want to hype them up and make them feel good about getting a policy, right? So if I'm going through my sales presentation and my discovery, I always say things, something along the lines of, well, Mr. John, you know what? I'm glad to know that you're looking at taking care of your family. The fact that you took care of your daughters for the last 30 years of their life, and you're still looking to take care of and provide for them even after you're long gone, says a lot about you as a man, and I can respect that. Boom, he starts feeling good, right? When it comes to women, I'm talking to the women. Miss Betty, your middle name must be S, because you're a superwoman in my book. The reason why I say that is because the fact that you're looking to take care of your children after you've taken care of them the last 20 so years says a lot about you, and I can respect that. I only want to work with people who genuinely love and care about their family. And the fact that you're looking to do that for your family says a lot about you. I'm hyping them up. You guys see that? I'm hyping them up, because if I can hype them up, they want to stay on the call with me a little bit longer. They want to have me stay in their house. They're going to probably end up baking me some cookies, right? I'm hyping them up. I'm making them feel good about getting the policy. So when it comes to the end of the presentation, guess what? I've already hyped them up, and I'm doing it genuinely. It's a genuine compliment. It's not a fake compliment. I'm hyping them up. I'm making them feel good about getting the policy, right? How many of you guys had calls with Mike one-on-one before, right? Did he hype you up on those calls? Right? Encourage you guys did you guys feel encouraged after you guys got the call? Yeah, because he's hyping you up afterwards. He may have given you some constructive feedback, but he's still hyping you up afterwards, right? Yeah, it's the same thing we do in life. How many of you guys have children on the line or people that you care about, right? Imagine if you just bashed them their whole life. Lord Almighty, they'll grow up despising us. We hyped them up. Hey, son, you know what? You didn't have the best game today. You only scored 2 points, but great effort. We'll get them next week. We'll practice this week, and we'll score 15 next week. We hyped them up, right? It's the same thing when it comes to our clients. They want to feel good about what they're purchasing, what they're getting. If you don't make your client feel good about what they're purchasing, what they're getting, why would they want to buy from you? You see, a lot of people think that the value is in a life insurance policy, but it's not. Write this down. Your income is going to be directly correlated to the value, what you bring to the given marketplace. What is the value? I want you to put you on the page, and I want you to circle it. You are the value. Every single person can sell a life insurance policy. Guess what? How many people do we got on the line? We got about 50 people on the line. We all are selling the same exact product. We can all call the same exact client, but that client is only going to choose one person. One. And it's not going to be based strictly off the price. It's going to be based off who the client can connect with the best. So if you have a selling issue, you have to look internally to see, okay, did I move my client from a stranger to a friend? My number one job when I get on the phone call, guys, is to move my client from a stranger to a friend as fast as possible. And not being over friendly, being the fake friendly, right? Talking about their family and their friends for 15, 20 minutes, that's not going to do it, because that's not genuine. But being a friend looks like, okay, cool. They call me. I got all the information they need to be able to help them. I'm a specialist at what I do. And guys, guess what? I can relate to my client. Me and my client can be connected, which is why I share stories inside of my presentation. That brings the connection. You see, it's so funny that a lot of you guys have come from a pipeline either through 8% YouTube, Cody Aston YouTube, or Life Insurance Academy, right? And all the time when people reach out to us, they say, Jalen, I seen you guys on a Life Insurance Academy, and man, I love the fact that you guys share your faith. Or, hey, I love the fact that you guys are doing this. I love the fact that you're doing that. Why? It's because when I get on those podcasts, guess what I'm doing? I'm sharing my story. I'm being authentic to who I am. And then I connect and bring people in who are what? Similar to me. Who have a similar story, who have a similar passion, who have similar, guess what, guys? Experiences that they had in life, and they want to work with us. It's the same thing when I get on the call with my clients. They tell me something about their family. If I don't have a story that I can connect with them, I share somebody else's story. All of you guys have stories that you guys can share, right? Stories sell, facts tell. Stories sell, facts tell. A lot of you guys are just giving too many facts. We want to make sure that we're sharing stories to be able to connect with our client. You see, the best speakers in the world are the ones who can show up on stage and have a whole bunch of fact, have a whole bunch of information, but it's about how they're sharing their information. The best auditors are the ones who can show up on a stage and share a story. And that's what brings the client in to want to have them purchase. It's what brings the audience in to say, you know what, dang, that felt amazing. They're engaged with the story, right? I want to give you guys the next portion. So we talked about internal need, external needs, and we also talked about moral and philosophical. What I want to do really quick, I want to role play with one person when it comes to these different types of needs. And I want to see if you can be able to help me figure out what my internal need is. Okay, who I got? Give me somebody. I'm focused on internal need, external, and moral and philosophical. Come on, we got 5 minutes to do it. Who we got?
We can go. All right,
Mark,
I'm on the agent or
okay, give me a client. Marcus is the agent. I need a client. Somebody come on to be the client. And what I want you guys to do as we're going through it, I want you guys to
I'll
rate.
be the client.
I think David already
Yeah, I got it.
Thank you, Adnan Dori. So what I want you guys to do is I want you guys to write down how well did Marcus connect with the client from the internal perspective. Then did he figure out the external need? And did he also go through the moral and philosophical? All right. So did he get the internal need? Did he also get the external need? And then he also hype the client up by doing the moral and philosophical need. All right. So Marcus, let's start from the discovery and let's do it. Okay.
yes, sir. And then who is my client?
David.
Oh, wait,
Right here.
perfect. All right, Mr. Davis. So thank you so much again for taking the time to be able to speak with me and discuss. So as I said before, my name is Marcus. I'm with Senior Benefits here in Kansas. We received a request about our final expense coverage plans. I was just told to stop by to see what you qualify for. With that being said, were you requesting this information for you or for you and someone else?
Just for myself.
Awesome. And were you requesting this information because you don't have anything in place right now?
Well, we got a $5,000 policy over something I saw on TV. I can't really remember the name of the company.
Okay,
Yeah.
so a $5,000 policy. Okay. And you say you can't remember the company.
No.
Gotcha. Do you know how much you're paying per month for that policy?
Something like $50 a month. I'm not really good at keeping tabs on stuff like that.
Wow. That's an expensive policy, Mr. David. Is there any reason why you're paying for that expensive policy?
It's just the first thing I saw. Happenstance, I don't know, I mean, I didn't really know things would be different, could be different.
No, most definitely. So that's kind of concerning to me. A lot of people I talk to that are seniors, they are on a fixed income, so they're their budget is pretty tight. So I'm confused why you didn't get the senior special. Do you know why you didn't get the senior special?
They never brought it up.
Okay. Maybe you didn't get it because you're like really sick, like, or have like really bad health conditions like
No,
dialysis or
no, no,
something.
no, 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 no. I'm, I'm good. I mean, I only go to the doctor like once a year for a checkup. I'm pretty good.
Okay. Yeah, that's definitely concerning to me. Let's definitely look into that here. Um, I want to make sure that we find something that is suitable for your needs. But one thing I know you did mention is that you don't know the company right now. Is that correct?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Um, I'm sorry. I wish I knew.
No, that's so I'm assuming have you what's the reason that you're looking into the coverage right now?
I mean, $5,000 is great. I'm happy that it'll go to my daughter, but it just feels like with whatever everything that I've seen, it's just not going to be enough uh
Mm,
around then. So I just wanted to know what was kind of out there, what things could be, because I mean, I am on fixed income. I can't stretch myself too thin because I need to keep food on the table, but
absolutely. And it sounds like you're wanting to increase your coverage.
if it's financially feasible, yeah.
Okay.
Otherwise, I mean, I've got coverage, so I'm good.
Okay. And if you were wanting to, and with you wanting to increase your coverage, how much would you want to increase that to?
Probably by 10,000,
10,000?
10,000.
Gotcha. And recently, have you experienced a funeral before?
Not recently, but my father passed away a little while ago.
Mm, I'm sorry to hear that.
That's fine.
And if you don't mind me asking, was that a burial or cremation?
He donated his body to science. Actually, he was in that weird bag, but we still had a memorial service for him and
Gotcha.
um had a wake and stuff.
Okay. If you don't mind me asking, tell me about that process. Was that a pretty extraneous process or was it pretty smooth?
I mean, it was all right. Oddly enough, I've still got some of my older family. So my aunt and my aunt kind of took care of my dad's arrangements a lot of the time, but with the I do know that there was a lot of arguing about money
Mm,
at that time, and it made me realize that, well, after I left my job, after I retired, I didn't really have anything to begin with, and then he passed away, and he didn't either. So
mm,
uh, one thing led to another. We haven't really spoken to our family since then, and I don't want that for my daughter. And
absolutely. I I know for me, I don't know what it's like to lose a dad, but I do know what it's like to lose my mom. And that was something we were grateful that she had something in place. So we didn't have like to worry about those financial strains with that. Most of the people that I talk to come to me for that same exact reason, because their family didn't have anything in place. So if we were able to alleviate that for you, would that be helpful for you?
yeah, it would. I mean, still, I need to make sure that it's financially feasible. Um,
Absolutely.
because coverage doesn't do much if you die because you can't eat. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then I know you mentioned that your dad had donated his body through science. Did he
yeah,
have any other coverage in place?
he didn't have any coverage to go towards the memorial. We wound up having to go through the church and
Wow.
savings. Kind of had to
Wow.
drain some of the savings that we had. Um, Things got kind of crazy.
Wow. Yep, and that's what a lot of people say is that a lot of people that I talk to, they tell me that they can't usually properly grieve because of the financial issues with that. That you kind of feel that as well.
Yeah, I mean, we did our best. I mean, the memorial was still beautiful. Like he had pictures and stuff on a canvas that we got to look at, and there was some. He was a musician, so they had some good music, but it was all kind of still. I mean, bittersweet from that, and then having to like you couldn't stop dealing with it. You had to keep trying to figure things out as the months went by, and then
Hmm.
took another couple of months to get everything paid off. And only then could I kind of just sit back and relax, but it left a bitter taste in my mouth.
Mm. I'm sorry to hear about that again. Well, what we're going to do now is just go through some quick information about myself as well as our company. So that way we can see how we can further assist you and your family. Okay.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right, perfect.
Great job, great job, great job, great job, great job. Go ahead and drop a fire sign in the chat for Marcus and David. That was really good, right? Okay, so I want to hear some feedback from you guys on a scale 1 to 10. On a scale 1 to 10, with 10 being great, you guys were sold. Actually, do this. Were you guys sold or not sold? Sold or not sold? What we got? Were you guys sold? Okay, good. Marcus, thank you, man. I appreciate that a lot. David, thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
You know, the beautiful thing about that is that Marcus, I bet like you probably just started implementing that stuff into your presentation like just today, right? Like
Yeah.
a good portion of it, right? You see how fast he implemented it? Yeah, that quick. It's really that simple. You guys get on a sales call like this and you implement it immediately, and guess what? The results just miraculously starts happening. Like miraculously. Oh my gosh, now you got one sale, two sale, three sales, and you be like 21 Savage. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 M's, or maybe thousands in your account. Okay. You just end up being like that. Because implementation is the key to all success. Implementation. I love it. Great job. All right, so I got some feedback. All right, this is really, really good. From the audience perspective, all right, unmute. Did we figure out what the internal need was? What was the internal need that David shared?
Didn't have enough coverage. He only had $5,000, so he said something about the way the prices are, the way things are going, he didn't feel like he had enough.
Okay.
Wanted to make sure everything was good for his daughter, and he had a tragic experience with his family members where they fell out and wasn't talking because of financial situation. So he don't want that for his daughter in the future.
I love that. I love that. Great. You know, sales is all about listening. Even when we're on the sales on these calls here, guys, you need to be working on your skill set to listen. Like really listen to what the client is sharing with you. That was great. Exactly. The internal need was his daughter. That's one of the needs. But the biggest reason that he was requesting information, additional coverage, is because his father passed away and they had to end up getting church donations, and they had to end up essentially wiping out the savings account, and it left them feeling bitter essentially, right? Those are the internal needs. Anybody figure out what the external need was? What was the external need?
He didn't think he had enough coverage.
Okay. What else? Perfect. All right. So the external need, of course, was he didn't have enough coverage. Okay. He didn't have enough coverage to be able to take care of everything that he wanted to take care of. And I love the questions. Marcus, I'll even add this to you, okay? When you go through your whole external need factor, you still want to ask them, even if they have life insurance in place, I still would have hit them with, okay, excellent. How long have you been looking for coverage? right? I would add that in there. How long you been looking for coverage, man? And then you'll hit them with after that, what's been the biggest thing holding you back from putting insurance in place over the last, boom, whatever amount of time they told you? What's been the biggest thing holding you back from putting something in place over the last year? And then you'll start hearing the client say, well, Jalen, I just haven't had enough time. Or Jalen, I've been getting quotes and they just been way too pricey. And now the external need is a price factor. He needs to find something for his budget. You'll hear things like that, right? One of my best sayings when a client says, well, Jalen, I just haven't, no matter if they have insurance or don't have insurance in place. If they say, well, Jalen, I just haven't had the time, or, I've been procrastinating, right? I always say this line to that client. I'll say, yeah, I completely understand, in fact, I don't have a lot of time to do a lot of things myself, but I always tell people the best day to get life final expense insurance was yesterday, but the second best day is always today to cover the problems for tomorrow. You guys catch that? Yeah, I completely understand, Mr. John. I've been procrastinating myself on a few things, but the best day to get final expense is yesterday, but the second best day is today to cover the problems for tomorrow. You guys see that? Yeah. They were like, oh yeah, that was a good saying right there. Yeah, I got a lot of good sayings, right? I got a lot of good sayings. You hit them with that, okay? One thing I will add in, how well did Marcus do when it came to the moral and philosophical need as far as like hyping them up and things of that nature? How well did he do?
Sure, he would have done a great job on it, but it seemed like that part might have gotten skipped over at the very end. It was just at the end of the.
Yeah. Even during the share your belief statement, that's just a part of it. But even then, like after every, for me guys, how I like to do it. After I figure out what the external need is and the internal need is, I always circle back around and I say, man, Mr. John, thank you so much for sharing this information with me, man. I know you said you just experienced this funeral of your, Mr. David, you just experienced this funeral of your father a couple years ago, and you guys didn't have enough to pay for everything, and you're looking to make sure your daughter's well protected and she's good to go. I got a lot of respect for you, man, just because I know you've been taking care of her for a long period of time, and the fact that you're still looking to make sure she's good says a lot about you and your character, man. I can respect that. And then I move on to my next portion. Just out of curiosity, real quick, Mr. John, do you happen to have anything in place right now for your final arrangements? You guys see that? So I want to hype them up. Even at I want to dive into the emotion, but then after we go through the emotional factor, I like to go in and I like to hype them up even after that before I transition to my next question. You guys with me on that? Okay, good. This last factor I'm going to leave you guys with is something called the mirroring technique. The mirroring technique. This is going to help every single one of you guys be able to, okay, make your transition statements extremely smooth. Does anybody know what I mean when I say mirroring technique? This will help you, I promise you, increase a lot of your freaking sales. Does anybody know what I mean when I say mirroring technique?
Yeah, I know.
You got Dan.
So you just repeat all of the main points that they just spoke about, and then you transition into your next. And then you transition. As in this situation, he would go back to what David said about his family, about his daughter, about everything that they talked about, and then he would say, in order to help your daughter, to help your family, not get into those fights, I'm going to tell you a little bit something about how our company can help.
Great. Give me an example. Okay,
so as in, okay,
Hold
Ms.
on.
Betty.
Let's do it this way. I need a client. We got Dan on the line, who's the agent. I need a client. And we're just going to go through just one glimpse of it really quick. We don't have to go through the whole discovery, but just one glimpse of it. I need a client. Who's the client? It can't be David. It can't be Marcus.
I got you.
Thank you, Jack. Appreciate it. All right, let's do it really quick.
Okay, so am I just going through one part of discovery and then go ahead and transition, or?
Yep, exactly.
transition.
You go
Okay.
through that first
Oh,
question.
all right.
Okay. Whatever he says back to you,
Okay.
and then you
All right.
hit him with the mirror
Okay.
team.
Okay. All right. Who am I speaking to again? I didn't get the name.
Jack.
Jack. Okay, Mr. Jack. First of all, thank you for sitting down with me and allowing me to talk to you. But so when you reached out to us for this information, was it for yourself or for somebody else?
It's for myself.
Oh, okay. So did you recently experience a funeral or you just don't have anything in place right now?
Yeah, I recently lost my grandfather.
Oh,
Months back. Yeah.
okay. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. Were you and your grandfather, were you guys pretty close?
Yeah, we were pretty close.
Oh, that's heartbreaking. And if you don't mind me asking, did your grandfather have coverage when he passed?
No, he didn't. Honestly,
Oh,
yeah, I didn't even realize my family's had to figure out how to pay for that. I didn't realize how expensive funerals were until then, to be honest with
okay. Oh, that had to be hard on your family.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Kind of got dropped on
So,
us. Like, how do we figure
and
this
it
out?
got dropped on us. How much did that cost you guys? I mean, just being curious.
It like 17,000, something around there, just for everything total.
Oh, and that was at a moment's notice?
Yeah.
Jeez. Well, Jack, I am so sorry to hear that. Again, I'm a broker with Impact Legacy Group, and just so that make sure that your family doesn't experience the same thing, having to come up with $16,000 at a moment's notice when you pass away, I'm going to show you real quick about our company and how we can help to make sure that your family doesn't have to experience that when you pass away.
That's great. Thank you.
I love it. Great job. Great job. Great job. Great job. Absolutely. So Dan did it very, very well. Okay. Very good. I'm going to dive into it a little bit deeper for you guys. Okay. That was really good. Okay. But what I want to do is I want to make sure that he understands I'm listening to this guy. Right. So when it comes to Jack, right, what was the reason that he requested information?
He, okay. It was because he recently experienced a funeral for his grandfather. He doesn't have anything in place, and he experienced a funeral recently with his grandfather.
Okay, excellent. No insurance in place, and he wants to, and he experienced a funeral of his grandfather. Okay, perfect. Here's where the transition statement comes in. You did very good, Dan. But I just want to dive into it a little bit deeper. So I'll say this, but before I transition to my next point, right? All right, Mr. Jack. So I know you were sharing with me, that one of the biggest reasons that you requested information from us today is because, you experienced a funeral of your grandfather who didn't have any life insurance in place, and you currently don't have any insurance in place right now. Just out of curiosity, how long you been looking for coverage? That's my transition statement to my next question. Well, I've been looking at getting insurance for the last 10 years, for the last year. Gotcha. So you've been looking at getting insurance for the last year. What's been the biggest thing holding you back from putting something in place? Well, I just haven't got around to it and I haven't had the money financially. Okay, so you've been looking at, you just haven't had the money financially, you haven't had the time to get around through it. Okay, no worries. When it comes to everything that we are discussing today, do you believe right now is a better time for you to put something in place for your family to cover them? Yeah, it's about that time. Gotcha. Okay. Well, I'm gonna definitely do my best to make sure we find something that's affordable for the budget and make sure we can help put you and your family in the best position possible. You guys see what I did there? After every question I ask him, I'm literally repeating back to them what he said. Literally after every single one. And it still sounds genuine. I want to show the client that I'm listening to them. So I don't want to lump it all into one. I want to do it after every single thing. Have you guys ever wrote a paper, right? When you guys wrote a paper in high school, I forget what it's called, but if there was a question posed, you had to repeat the question and then go into your statement, right? So let's say you had a theory or a hypothesis, and the question was, hey, if you put the plant inside the sun for 10 days, what's your hypothesis on it? And you had to respond back and say, what? Well, my hypothesis is that if the plant is if the plant is in the sun for the next 10 days, it will grow beautifully. If you didn't have that first statement to transition into your next statement, you would have got a failing grade, right? So it's the same thing when it comes to our transitions and our clients. Well, what's been the biggest thing? Were you requesting information because you experienced a funeral, or because you don't have, or were you requesting for yourself, for you and someone else? For myself. Gotcha. Okay, so you're looking at getting life insurance, final expense on yourself, correct? That's correct. Okay, what's been the biggest thing holding you? I mean, were you requesting because you experienced a funeral, or because you don't have anything in place right now? Well, Jalen, I experienced a funeral. Gotcha. Okay, so you just experienced a funeral. How long ago was that? Well, it was 2 years ago. 2 years ago. Gotcha. And if you don't mind me asking, who passed away? It was my aunt. Your aunt. Gotcha. Okay, I'm sorry to hear about that, man. Did she happen to have anything in place? You guys see the transition? You guys see how it makes the conversation flow and how simple it is? Right? So that's the mirror technique. You add that to your presentation, I promise you, it's going to make your conversations flow a lot better, and it's going to be more simple, and it's going to help you build a genuine connection with your client. Okay? So that does conclude today's training. I hope you guys got all the information you guys need to be able to get the results you guys are looking for. Again, internal need, external need, moral and philosophical. At the end of every presentation, you want to grade yourself off of how well did you do all three of those? How well did you do all three? A full presentation consists of all three of those. And then you want to make sure you're incorporating the mirror technique and the curiosity technique as much as you can throughout the entire presentation. All right?